Buenos días a todos. Quiero darles la bienvenida, agradecerles por acompañarnos en este evento. Mi nombre es Alejandra Zapata y hago parte del equipo de Consejería Académica y Relaciones Internacionales de Colfuturo. Hoy nos acompaña Dani, quien es el representante de Duke University Center for International Development. Nos estará brindando información en esta sesión acerca de la oferta académica que tienen disponible actualmente, también cómo iniciar su proceso de postulación y algunas opciones de financiación que tienen disponible. Adicionalmente a eso estará hablando del convenio que tienen actualmente con Colfuturo, el cual otorga un descuento del 30% en el valor de la matrícula para todos los beneficiarios de Colfuturos admitidos en programas de maestría. A lo largo de la historia de Colfuturo hemos beneficiado a más de 78 personas con este convenio. Esperamos que esta información sea de gran utilidad. Los invitamos también a seguirnos en nuestras redes sociales, Instagram, Facebook y Twitter, y en nuestra página web colfuturo.org para que estén pendientes de toda nuestra programación y el calendario de los eventos. Danny, thank you so much for joining us, for your time and for your interest to present the institution. You can start.
Let's try that again when I'm not muted. Great, thank you, Alejandra. And thank you both for joining me today. I am very excited to talk about the Master of International Development Policy program, which we have at the Duke Sanford School of Public Policy today. So I'm going to share a brief presentation where I will discuss a little bit about the program and the application requirements, and then I'll open it up for any questions that we have. So the first thing I want to start with is a quote from the founder of the Sanford School, Terry Sanford, who was a United States Senator and the governor of the state of North Carolina, which was achieve outrageous ambition. And that's really what the MIDP seeks to do. It tries to help empower people who are passionate about making positive impacts in their home communities to do so with cutting edge policy tools. So what I'm going to start with now is a very short 2-minute video of our first year MIDP students where they talk a little bit about what drew them to Sanford. And you'll notice that one of them is actually from Colombia.
My name is Jibike Olua Faborade, and I'm from Nigeria.
I'm Evden Batiri, and I'm from Morocco.
My name is Nasser Ibrahim. I'm from Egypt.
My name is Gonzalo Meneses. I'm from Peru.
My name is Paola, and I'm from Colombia.
I chose Sanford because it has like a lot of programs, and one of the most diversified program, it's MIDP. A lot of people coming from different countries and different culture. And actually, because most of us are coming from developing countries, I found that it will help me to find innovative solutions for our challenges in common countries that we have.
I've always wanted to come to the United States to study, and I discovered Sanford School. And to be honest, I've been wanting to do public policy for the longest time. My work currently is in international development, so it seemed like the best fit for me. And yeah, voila, I'm here.
2 years ago, I was here as a part of exchange program funded by State Department, and it was like a micro MIDP program. And then I said, I need more of that.
I won a scholarship from Sanford, and also I sponsored by my company in Colombia, the Ministry of Finance. So it's a good experience that gave me the opportunity to stay here.
Sanford was the best option because it provided me the opportunity to do a master in international development policy, to make my own path in what I want to do. Also the community that I heard was here, because I had some friends that came before. They tell me wonders about Sanford, so they were so eager for me to come here that for me it was impossible not to choose it.
So as you can see, we draw a diverse group of students, but they all are passionate about international development and impacting their local communities and making positive change. So some of the key features of our program is that it's a mid-career program. So we seek people with 5 or more years of work experience so they can bring these experiences into the classroom and are not just learning from the teachers, but also learning from each other. We also are one of the most diverse, if not the most diverse groups at Duke University. So this year we currently have 46 fellows, we call our students fellows, enrolled in our program, and they're from over 20 different countries. So we really are geographically diverse. They also have a wide array of professional backgrounds and interests as well. Our curriculum is really flexible, so it allows you to capitalize and get the best that Duke has to offer. So we have some students who are interested in human rights and others who are interested in public finance, and some more who are interested in environmental sustainability and other topics. So we really do have a flexible curriculum. We do have a core set of classes that I'll talk about in a second, but beyond that, you really work one-on-one with a faculty advisor to select the courses that are best for you. Our faculty are very renowned in their field. We have 2 types of faculty. One is faculty who have spent many years in the universities researching and creating theoretical knowledge. These faculty work around the world and have diverse interests. And a second group are known as professors of the practice, who have worked for many years in leading international organizations like the World Bank and are now working here at Sanford School, teaching the next generation of policy practitioners. And finally, as a small program admitting only 30 to 50 students a year, we're able to offer a high degree of personalized services that you wouldn't get other places, such as a full-time director of writing and communication services who's able to help students with their papers and presentations, and a full-time director of global careers who can help students in their internships and career searches as well. So our courses are very flexible, or our course structure is very flexible. We offer a 1-year degree program that consists of 30 credits and a 2-year degree program of 48 credits. In both, you are expected to take policy analysis, which is the foundational course for our program, and you learn the policy analysis steps and theoretical backing. We also require or strongly recommend empirical analysis. For the first 1-year program, it's strongly recommended. For the 2-year, it's required, and an economics course. Beyond that, and most of the courses, as you can tell, are electives. So you will work one-on-one with a faculty advisor to select courses that are appropriate for your research interest. And at the end of your studies, you will take or complete a master's project, which is an in-depth policy analysis around a topic of your choosing. To help guide you in your course selection, we have various areas of focus that are the strengths of the MIDP program. So we offer courses in social policy, including global health, applied economics, which looks at international trade and competitiveness privatization issues, development management and governance, such as implementation and monitoring and evaluation, peace and conflict resolution, looking at democratization and institution building, international tax and public financial management, which is for career government officials who are interested in expanding their knowledge about public budgeting, environmental management, and innovation and social entrepreneurship. So innovation and social entrepreneurship is about applying creative and cutting edge solutions to ongoing problems. So you would select one of these. A lot of these are not siloed. They actually are cross-cutting, and courses will fall into multiple of these. And then you'll work with a faculty advisor to select courses best aligned with your interest. For those of you taking the 2-year program, we do require an internship between your first and second year. And as you can see here, we have quite an array of placements for our internships. A lot of our students do decide to go to international organizations like the UN or the World Bank, and then others choose the NGO or private sector route, while others are looking for more research-oriented in think tanks and academia, and a handful are going into governments. And below the graph, you can see just a snapshot of the different placements that we've had in the past few years, everything from the Inter-American Development Bank to Save the Children, to DAI, to different leading think tanks and government organizations. So we really do place students in a variety of locations that are designed to help give them an experience and the chance to experience a work environment perhaps different than what they have seen before. As I had mentioned earlier, we do have several different types of master's projects. So all students are expected to complete this culminating project or paper, which is really an in-depth policy analysis. But the choice of the topic is up to the student, and they will work with a committee of 2 to 3 faculty advisors to really solidify and come up with a high quality product. So as you can see, this previous year, we had things from civil service reform in Mexico to labor market rights for women in Egypt, to things such as energy access in Ethiopia. So we really had a wide array of different topics that students are engaged in. And this speaks to just the diversity of the program and how you can really explore different topics while you're here. I do want to change topics now to talk a little bit about the application process and the material. So we have a priority deadline of January 5th. So we ask as many applicants to apply by January 5th as possible. But we do offer rolling admissions after that as space allows in our program with a final deadline of April 15th. So the benefit of applying before January 5th is that you'll know by February, so you'll have more time to apply for Colfuturo or other funding, and it gives you access to the maximum amount of scholarship possible. Our application is completely online. You will complete an online application and pay the application fee of $80 US. And then you will upload several different supplemental material. Of that, a CV, where you should demonstrate 5 or more years of work experience, at least 7 if you're applying to the 1-year program. English language proficiency, and we do accept 4 different tests. We accept IELTS, TOEFL, Duolingo, and Pearson. We ask for electronic transcripts of every university that you've studied at so far, as well as a statement of purpose. The statement of purpose is perhaps the most critical part of your application. So in that, you really explain and expand on what you're interested in and what you hope to gain while you are in graduate school or in the MIDP program. This is not a place to simply explain what's on your CV, but more a chance to highlight your aspirations. It's also a chance to explain if there's any weak spots in your application, why they're there. So if you really struggled one semester in your undergraduate, you can explain here why that was the case and what you've learned from it. We also ask for 3 letters of recommendation. One of the suggestions I have for this, not only for MIDP, but for any program, is pick people who know you well. So if you have the choice between picking a high-ranking official or the person that you directly reported to, always pick the person you directly reported to, as they're going to be able to give us more detail about your working style and things that you do day to day, and this will help create a stronger application for you. Finally, this year we're asking for a video. Now this is going to be optional but highly recommended. So you'll record a 1-minute video of yourself and then post it to YouTube and send us the link. And in this, you will explain to us, what does development mean to you? So what are you passionate about from a development standpoint? And when you hear the word international development, what comes to mind first? And this, like I said, is a short 1-minute video. And that is our application in a nutshell. So as you can see here, this is the estimated cost of attendance for 2001, 2002. It changes every year based on the figure set by the broader university. We should hear about this in early spring. And then, as I mentioned, or was mentioned by Alejandra earlier on, we do have an agreement with Colfuturo where you're automatically given a 30% tuition discount every year, as well as Colfuturo funding. One of the interesting things about our program is that we do offer merit-based partial tuition scholarships. So that would be the 30%, and in some cases, really strong applicants can get a little bit higher than 30%. And then we have these other partnerships. So actually 83% of our student body currently come to us from partnerships or government programs like Colfuturo, which you can see is on the screen. And so it really does help. These partnerships really do help to cover the cost of attendance and make studying at Duke possible for our students. And upon graduation, a lot of students or applicants are wondering, what do students go on to do? And what we find is that the vast majority of our students do return to their home countries because they're really interested in taking the skills that they've learned and making meaningful changes in their home neighborhoods and communities. And so upon that, about 51% go into government level jobs in their home country. This is a bit misleading because many of our students are already government officials and they are coming here to learn skills to take their career to the next level. But beyond the government, we really have a split between international organizations like the Inter-American Development Bank or UN, the private sector, and NGOs. But we do have a small percentage, about 8%, who are going on to other paths, whether that be starting their own business, working in a think tank, or going on to pursue a PhD. So the career outcomes upon graduation are really quite varied, and the 2020 graduates are pretty representative of what we see every year. And so I want to conclude by showing a map of the world where you can see all of those things shaded blue are where our alumni come from. So we have alumni from about 107 different nations currently, Colombia included. It's one of our major countries that's represented in South America. And as you can see, the darker the blue, the more graduates we've had from those countries. But you can see our alumni network really does span the globe. And I'm excited to say that this year, we're going to graduate and be able to shade 2 more countries blue. We're going to have hopefully a graduate from Spain and one from Saudi Arabia. So we really are going, when you're here, the alumni network will be 109. And our alumni are very active. We have a very strong internal LinkedIn and Facebook group where students will say, or graduates will say, hey, I'm traveling to this country, or hey, I'm working on this project. Are there any alumni that are able to help me on these things? And people are very receptive. So one of the things you'll be joining is a lifetime community of development practitioners who can really aid and support you in your future career. So I want to thank you for that. And now I wanted to open it up for any questions that you may have. And while everyone's thinking about questions, one of the questions that I often get is about our COVID protocols. That's something that's always on everyone's mind these days. So to anticipate that, I will say that Duke University has been one of the model universities in the United States for its COVID practices. So all students who are coming to campus are expected to be vaccinated. If you have not been vaccinated prior to arrival, a vaccine will be offered to you. And in addition to that, students are expected to take weekly COVID tests. So every week you will go and administer a COVID test. You will not hear back unless it's a positive. Faculty and staff are also highly encouraged to take these. I did mine yesterday. And so this is to help trace and monitor and make sure that there are no asymptomatic positive cases. Finally, students currently are expected to wear masks when indoors. And so combined, we have less than a 1% positive rate at any given week of COVID cases. And our students are able to enjoy classes in person and also events in person that are not available or not possible in many parts of the United States or the globe. So we've been very fortunate in that regard.
Thank you so much, Danny. We are waiting for questions, but I have one question for you. What is your advice for people that are in the process of applying, about the time of preparation, about the specific requirements? What is your recommendation?
That is a great question. So my recommendation, if you're in the process of applying, is to email me at midpinfo at duke.edu and to say, hi, I'm interested in the MID program. I'm interested in applying. Can you and I talk individually on Zoom? And I will set up an individual session with you, share your CV, and then I can help walk you through things to highlight, considerations, how well we're going to be able to fit. I can suggest courses that might be of interest to your specific cases. One of the joys of being a small program is I can talk to people one-on-one. So that is the best advice I can give. If that's not available because you have a very busy work schedule, the thing I can say, the more specific you are in your statement of purpose about exactly what you're wanting to look for, exactly what you're wanting to gain out of your graduate studies, and the more detail in your letters of recommendation, the better. Letters of recommendation, no one ever, or very, very rare is it that you see a negative recommendation. You don't pick someone who's going to say bad things about you in these. But there is a difference between a letter of recommendation that says, I worked with this person for 4 years, they were a strong worker, they committed, and someone that said they did this, and then they did this, and then they did this, and give very, very specific details. Those type of letters can really push an application from maybe to yes. And the statement of purpose, the same thing. If you say, I am interested in public policy, I'm interested in rural development, those are such broad categories. People don't know really what you're interested in. But if you say, I want to work with local farmers to engage in accessing external markets by getting meeting the regulations for export, that's very specific. And I can say, oh, you can work with this professor, or you can work with the World Food Policy Center. So the more specific you are, and the more strategic you are in those letters of recommendation, the better. That's a great question.
Thank you. We have one question for Andres. I want to know if this program have classes for data management or coding.
That is great. And Andres, while I'm answering, if you can drop in there if you're thinking more about coding from a qualitative sense or from a quantitative sense, or just computer programming coding, that would be helpful. But in a little bit of a broad thing, everyone is expected to take empirical analysis, which is statistics. And in statistics, you're going to learn the basics of data management, as well as different coding and running statistical programs and inferring the output. And currently we're teaching that in Stata. In Stata. In the past, we've taught it in Excel or in SPSS, but that's the one we're doing this year. And then beyond that, it's up to the student and then those electives and to what you're interested in. So we had a student who graduated, I want to say last year, and they were really, really interested in using big data and applying that into peace and conflict studies. So they created this huge aggregate data set of different conflict areas and economic opportunities. After that, working with various centers at Duke, like DNAS, which is the Duke Network Analysis Center, or the Duke Big Data Center. And so they took classes in data management as well as in data coding and data analysis. I think they became an expert in R, which is the open source software that I would recommend. And they were able, and then they took classes also on data visualization using Tableau and other programs. And so their master's project and their background was extremely data heavy. So they were a very quantitative person. They even took classes in the Duke statistics department with doctoral students that were getting their PhD in statistics. So that is definitely possible. At the same time, someone who graduated with them, who was also actually a co-futur representative, was a lawyer by training, and they were more interested in looking at issues of human rights and about trade law. And so they were on the other side of the university. They were taking classes with us on strategic storytelling and how to use qualitative data to really help make your case for a policy. They were looking at how to take these narratives and design good policy around lived experiences. They took classes at the law school looking at the legal framework around human rights and how that could be transnational. So it had very little to do with the quantitative side. And so that's the beauty of this program, is that you're going to get the fundamentals that you need for economic and statistical analysis. But then if that's really not where you see your career evolving, you're able to take classes in other things. But if that's something like Andres that you're really passionate about, then you can definitely keep going.
Okay, thank you. We don't have more questions. Anybody have questions? Si alguien tiene preguntas específicas sobre Colfuturo, sobre cómo aplicar el programa Crédito Beca, pueden escribirnos a este correo. Vamos a resolver todas sus dudas. Andrés, you want to talk? Andrés? Okay. No, we don't have more questions.
Yeah. One other thing I would like to add, because I oftentimes talk to students or to applicants who are very strong applicants and they've applied and they've been accepted, and then they've applied for Colfuturo and they've gotten Colfuturo funding, and they're trying to find the final little piece of the puzzle to make it possible. If that is, you think that might be the case for you, I really recommend on October 29th at 9 a.m. Durham time, which would be 8 a.m. Colombian time, or time in Bogota, to join us for a virtual webinar. It's a virtual open house where we will have representatives from the MIDP program. You'll actually hear from one of our faculty members about his research interest in the classes. And then our senior director, Stephanie Ott-Lamb, is going to be talking about fellowship and scholarship searches. So how you can find additional scholarships outside of Colfuturo. And so some of our students that have come through us through this agreement have found those very helpful and supplementing the two funding sources. So I would recommend that you do that. And it's a chance to meet with current students as well as faculty and staff.
Okay, thank you so much, Danny, for your time, for your recommendations. And we have other questions.
Yes, the date and time of that is October 29th, and that would be at 8 a.m. your time. And if you go to the Meet Us page on our website, then you will be able to see detail about how to register. And you'll also be able to see the lineup of speakers. We'll also have a second one later on in the month, close to the 1st of December, which is going to focus more on career outcomes for graduates, and as well as talking with Corey Krupp, who teaches our economics classes. So I'm going to send the link to that.
Yes, exactly. Perfect. Yes. Thank you so much, Danny.
Yes. No, thank you all for joining us. And I hope you have a great rest of the day.
Okay, bye.
Bye.